Where have you carried him? Tell me where you've put him, and I'm going to go get him. Jesus said to her, Mary. She turned around and cried out, Rabbi, which means teacher. And Jesus said, don't hold on to me, for I have not yet ascended to the Father. Go and say to my brothers and tell them, I am ascending to my Father and your Father, to my God and to your God. Mary Magdalene went to the disciples with the news, I have seen the Lord. She told them that he had said all these things to her. Y'all, this is the best news in history. Can you imagine having the honor of being the first person to tell everybody within earshot that our God is alive? Called this message this morning, the love that you have been looking for. The love you've been looking for. We can get this straight off the bat right now. All of us, pretty much mankind in general, have this in common. Two things. One, we have a desire to be loved, and we have a desire to love. It's how we were created. Everybody in here, no matter how put together they might be or how OG their status might be on the streets, everybody has a desire to love and to be loved. As a result, our culture has, I guess, a infatuation with the idea of love. You ever notice that? Because they don't know what real love is yet, but everybody understands the concept of it, so they like the idea of it. Love is big business. Most of the hit songs in our generation are going to be revolving around love. Most movies that have a love story involved are going to go really well. If you really love somebody, you're going to sit through a love movie or two. You're going to watch The Notebook, whether you like it or not. But our culture is so thirsty for a love they cannot find, they are accepting the counterfeit that our culture is giving them. They'll take anything. Anybody that says I love you, we're going to listen to it. Any show that has love in it, people act like it's real love. But if anything, it's reflective of how badly our world is searching for real love. And they can't find it because we know the truth. How can you know what love is if you don't know who love is? And we know in this place as Christians that Jesus is love. His love is different than anything else you can find on this planet. It cannot be matched in a normal relationship. You can't find this online. You can't get on Christian Mingle and find this kind of love. The love of our God. It is a love that breaks every chain. It is a love that breathes life into dead things. It is a love that turns a broken sinner into an evangelist. It is love that changes the game. And it is the love people have been searching for. Came to remind a few people that we have to somehow, some way, get people to realize that the cross still means love. The cross still means love. That's why that graphic is so awesome, because our world is searching for the second part of that. Little do they know, you are never going to find that real love unless it comes through the bridge that is that real cross. If we took a poll today of people in your world and mine, and we said, what does the cross represent? Can you imagine the answers we would get? How many people do you know that don't come to this church or know the Jesus that has saved you would say, oh, cross means love? Most people believe cross means hate. Cross means religion. Cross means the church that kicked me out when I was a teenager because I didn't talk right, look right. The cross is what oppresses. We have to re-clarify for people that you can't get that love without that cross. And you cannot have that cross without this love. Without love, the cross is a piece of wood and it's a religious symbol. But because of that love, it's the bridge to real life. That makes sense? If it did, can you shout me down and say amen? Something Pentecostal. It's a real love. Here's a thought, and I don't preach like Judah. If I could, I would, where he can just talk and give no anchors, no notes. He's just supernaturally gifted, and it's frustrating being his best friend. But I have notes that you can write down if this helps you. This is no ordinary love. Shout out to Sade. And we have a responsibility to wear it well. This is not ordinary love. If you're a Christian that you have received, it's not ordinary love, and we have a responsibility to wear it well. And if you're thinking, tell me how non-ordinary this love is, glad you said that. I'm going to read you out of 1 Corinthians. I guess Judah hit on this on Easter Sunday, and I can't do it like he did, but I think it bears 2 weeks of reading. Did you know you could do that? Read the same passage 2 weeks in a row? 1 Corinthians 13, and here's the setup. Most of you already know that Paul was passionate about making sure that Christians knew it's not enough just to say that you have kind of felt this love. you should be wearing it better than you're wearing it. Because the church this letter was written to, these people were not living or loving right. So Paul felt the need to write this beautifully eloquent, description of what real agape love is all about. There's earthly love, and then there's the Jesus agape love. Reckless, ridiculous, illogical, unearned, not because of you, it's because of him kind of love. Not ordinary. Here's how it goes. You ready for this? Keep in mind, these people had no idea how to love. And Paul was saying, that's not good enough. It's not good enough for you to just say, this Jesus raised from the dead, and you believe in him if people cannot see it in your life. And he said this, if I speak in the tongues of men or angels, but I don't have love, I'm a resounding gong or I'm a clanging cymbal. If I have the gift of prophecy and can fathom all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have a faith that can move mountains, but I don't have love, I am nothing. If I give everything I own to the poor and give my body to hardship that I may boast, but I don't have love, I gain nothing. The fact that he's writing this means people had faith like this, and he wanted them to know it's not enough if it's not rooted in love. He goes on to say, love is patient, love is kind. This is all the opposite of New York City. It does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud, it does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no record of wrongs. This is not ordinary. Love does not delight in evil, but it rejoices with the truth. It always protects. It always trusts. It always hopes. It always perseveres. And then this banger, love never fails. This is unfathomable. And what Paul was trying to get them to understand is that y'all are doing all the stuff without any of the love. And the only way you can have that love is continually walking with Jesus. You have gone away from the source of it all. I don't care about all the stuff you're doing if there is no love. It sounds like modern day church to me, where people are trying to carry the cross without the love that it is covered in. Christians trying to live without love, it's like Krispy Kreme donuts that have no sugar. An absolute abomination. But Paul is going to great lengths to let people know it doesn't matter if you're preaching what's right, but it's not in a spirit of love. It doesn't matter if you're trying to go worship, if it's not out of a spirit of love. It doesn't matter if you have the right theological stance, if you're not stancing on it from a place of love. He's saying, don't do all this and miss the whole point. This was free love given to you, so people should be able to see it coming out of you. That's why we have to get people to the cross, so they can feel this for themselves. You take the love out of City Church, Hillsong New York City Church, we've got a regular building. You take the love out of our worship, we have normal music. You take the love out of this gospel, we have an empty book of words. It is the love that sets us apart. What about your life? Because I would say this, it's a bold statement, but I believe your experience should dictate your expression. Think about that, your experience. Who in here has said, yep, I've experienced the love of God? If you have, it was agape love. You didn't deserve it, but you got it. It made no sense, but you got it. It's illogical, but you got it anyway. I wonder if your experience is dictating your expression. So I've been to churches where there's no expression of this ridiculous love. That's why I'm desperate to have people experience Jesus for themselves. So who has kids in here? Would you say you'd agree with me if I said you cannot understand the love of a parent really until you had your own kids? I have three children. And I'll honestly say I could never understand the love of my parents until I had my own kids. Impossible. Before my own children, I was just annoyed with my parents often. I never understood why my mom, to this day, I could catch her just staring at me. I'd be like, Mom, what are you looking at? She'd be like, just you. You're my sweet boy, and I love you. Just my sweet boy, and I love you. And I'd be like, that's weird, Mom. I'm a grown man. Or my dad would call me, and he'd be like, hey, son, how you doing? Good, Dad. Can I help you? Nope, just calling to hear your voice. You're my one and only son, and I love you. Just calling to hear your voice. I'm like, Dad, it's so weird. We just talked a couple days ago. Why do you want to hear my voice again? And then I had my own children. My experience started to change my entire perspective. I immediately, once I had my own kids, spent like the next 9 years apologizing for everything I ever did as a teenager, for not returning the calls my parents would give. I just got it. I mean, my son came home from school not too long ago with like broken glasses. He's got these really thick glasses because his eyes are messed up and it's really cute, and I really don't want him to get fixed because it's so cool to see his little eye go in. But he's got these giant glasses, and he came home and they were crooked, and I'm like, son, what happened to your glasses? He's like, Dad, this kid pushed me down. I couldn't get up, and then he pushed me again, and he broke my glasses. And I was like, really, son? Like, what? Who did it? Like, what's his name? Like, do you know where he's at? Like, where he lives? Like, how did that happen? I found myself getting mad. A reckless love I had never known. I remember waking up the next morning. I was so ready for school. I was like walking around the playground like, I can't find that kid, but I can find his father. Like, I never experienced it before. It's my son. My daughter came home one day devastated about her trouble with math at school, and she's like, Dad, I'm just frustrated. I don't understand math. And I found myself getting mad at the concept of math. I'm like, who does math think it is? Like, who can we call? How can we break down this system? It's not okay for you. Illogical love. Because I actually have my own kids. This is why I do not understand how we can say we have experienced the love of God and go into our communities and not express the same love that saved us to the people that need it the most. We got love that wasn't fair. We should dish that same love. We have been forgiven much, so we should be forgiving much. My hope is that somehow, some way, I can be a part of a church. We can be a part of a church where people walk up and say, what is different about the city church? Yeah, music's everywhere, preaching's everywhere. I've heard that view before, but there's something about the love and the way you said it that makes me stop in my tracks. It's the real love our world's been looking for. Can I give you as fast as I can? Is this helping anybody? Over here in the back corner, you guys good? Yeah? Woo! 3 things that the agape love of our God, remember agape, write it down, reckless, abandoned, not fair, mind-blowing grace and love we do not deserve. This agape love does 3 major things, and if you're a Christian, let it be a reminder, because the experience should be changing your expression. And if you're not a Christian, hear me loud and clear, this is available to you. So think it over. The next 15, 20 minutes, if you've been searching for love and you're like, wow, I actually haven't found it. If I'm right, you can find it in the cross. Number 1, ready? 3 things it does. I've actually got 33. Chelsea, this is the Baptist service, right? We can just keep preaching, keep on going. People will come and go with their lunch. The agape love of our God, ready? Frees us from our past. Because the score has been settled. I know why there wasn't a big reaction, because not everybody in here has a past. But if you have ever had anything go wrong, if you've ever had sin in your life, it is good news to be reminded again that the agape love of our God frees us from our past, our sin and our shame and what we are owed, because the score has been settled. Love how the Bible puts it. Love, agape love, keeps no record of wrongs. This is the opposite of New York City or regular love, because our world, love is like, I love you until you do something wrong. And now I'm going to love you back, but there's going to be conditions, and I'm never going to let you forget about it. I'm always going to wonder if you're going to do it again. I say I forgive you, but I have a record of stuff you've done, so I'm still at a distance. The reckless agape love of our God is, I don't even remember your sin. I forgive you, and I love you, and I set you free. That's why the gospel only works for bad people. So if you have drama in your life, and you have scars in your life, and you have racked up sin debt in your life, it better just get you cheering from the literally your inner person to say, oh my gosh, God's love has freed me from my past. That's why I love it when I look out in church and I see people that are openly broken. And if you ever wonder like how passionate God is about Seattle and the streets we have yet to reach and the people that are still not coming in, all you have to do to find the heart of our God is look no further than John 20 and see the first conversation that Jesus had with somebody upon his resurrection. You know who it was with? It wasn't with the president, it wasn't with a diplomat, it wasn't with a scientist, it was with a know-nothing woman that had a bad reputation, whom he stopped with, talked to her, and called her by name. He had just rose from the dead. He could have done anything, and he went and talked to Mary. This is insane, because if I was Jesus, thank God I'm not. I'll tell you what I would have done if I was murdered without cause and rose from the dead like I said I was going to rise from the dead. I would have gone to every critic. I would have went back to the temple, and I would have been like, you doubted me, and you doubted me. Look at me now. Come back to her. Selfie with you in it. I would have went to every person. You nailed me to the cross. Here I am again. That should freak you out. You threw a stone at me. You were making fun of me. You turned your back on my... That's what I would have done. But the reckless love of our God is not interested in showing people how bad they are. It's not interested in proving a point that doesn't matter. Our God had the wherewithal to sit there and talk to this woman and let her know, hey, you got to move from where you are because I'm back. Who you've been looking for, I'm right here. I would ask you, if you're a Christian, if our God does not keep your record of wrongs, why do you? So I've been around enough Christians to know, yep, I've been forgiven. But this forgiveness is reckless in that it frees you. It's one thing to be forgiven. It's another thing to be free. If our God was not about forgiveness and freedom, he would have rolled that stone away, and he would have saw Mary, who would be like, hey, you go in that tomb for a while. Get your life together because you are reckless. You're a woman of the night. Get up in there, fix yourself up, and then come back out later. As funny as that sounds, you know how many Christians will get saved, get forgiven, and stay in their tomb for a while? I'm forgiven, but I can't walk forward. Why? This is agape love that sets you free. That's why I love being a part of churches that are looking for lost. Not just hoping we come across them, but when we find people that really need it, we got the best news in the world. God's love can set you free. I remember going to church not too long ago, and if you need the anointing, you pray, and then you go to 7-Eleven and you get coffee and donuts. Combination makes you feel anointed. Apparently that's not funny here, whatever it is. And so I'm at 7-Eleven buying my stuff, and I felt like, I just wanted to reach out, because when you start experiencing God's reckless love, you end up taking shots you would never take with people in your community. And I just said, hey man, you need to come to my church sometime. And he was just front street right away. He's like, no, I don't come to church. I'm not that kind of person. I'm like, nah, you'll be fine. He's like, no, you don't get it. I'm a bad person. So what's great about this day and age, people just keep it real quick. 0 to 100 so fast. And he was just like, I don't go to church. I'm a bad person. I'm like, man, everybody's got stuff. He's like, nah, you don't understand. I've been in jail. I'm on my second marriage. I've got kids I can't even pay for. Like, I'm a bad person. If I came into church, the whole place would fall down. I'm like, bro, I work there. I'm telling you, the walls are still there. It's going to be fine. He's like, nah, I'm not coming. I'm like, fine. Felt like I did my good deed of the day, planted the seed, did all that, got in the car, and I felt this pull to go back. I felt like it might have been God, and I was like, Lord, I'm headed to church. I don't have time for people. Obviously did a U-turn. I went back, and I just took one more shot with my friend. I said, look, bro, I really feel like this could be your day. I mean, our church is built for people that don't fit in. I mean, this is the reason why we're here. It's not about the church. It's about the love we're preaching about. Come check it out. I think he agreed to come so I would stop talking. And I'm preaching. He's the last person to show up. He sat on the end of the row with his whole 7-Eleven outfit, name tag, Ross. We'll never forget it. We gave a chance for people to accept this reckless love. He was the first person to put his hand up and give his life to the Lord, which is cool, but it gets better. Hang on. Calls me the next week. He's like, Carl, had a great week. Just really feeling God's love in my own life. And I was wondering if I could bring my wife and my kids and my stepchildren. I'm like, no, man, you need to tithe for at least 9 months. You need to come to classes. I'm like, of course you can bring whoever you want to bring. So he brings his wife and his kids and some of his stepchildren. They all get saved. He calls me the next week. He's like, Carl, look, I've just really been just thinking about how good God's been to me, and I had problems with my ex-wife, but I felt the forgiveness of God. I should have no reason to hang anything over anybody else. I reached out to her, and she wants to come to church. Can I bring her? I'm like, Ross, look, for the end of time, you never have to ask me. I don't care if they're breathing, bring them. If people are walking, bring them. Currently committing a crime, you can bring anybody into our church at any time. So he brought all them. Everybody he brought got saved. The next week, there's another row. Kid you not, the week after that, there's another row. In about a month's time, this guy who was resigned to his fate because of his past at a 7-Eleven had gone from a guy who was hiding to a guy that was literally an evangelist changing his community. And the only thing that was changed was his view on the love of God. Why would you not leave here today and say, I am not my label. I am not my past. I am not what I have been through. I am not defined by the stuff that used to hold me down. I am defined by that cross, and that cross means that I am free, that I can walk forward, that there is a new day. I don't care how many scars I have. Every scar will tell a story, and it will point to that cross. Come on, somebody, if you're with me, say something. Say amen. This is reckless love. You can't find this love on the internet. Can't find this love in a club. Cannot find this love in another human being. It's only found in the cross. Frees you from your past. And number two, anybody want number two? Agape love, Christian, it gives you peace in the present. So you do not have to worry while you wait. Peace in the present. Throwaway little moment here. 1 Corinthians, I think it's verse 7. It says, love always protects. As a Christian, I have learned, especially dealing with people in Chelsea, I'm sure you've seen this in church, like if the devil cannot stop you from serving Jesus, he will try to make you miserable while you do it. So there's a lot of people who are saved, set free, but where they are today, it's not ideal. All the ducks are not in a row. You're still waiting for certain things. So a lot of Christians sit in an anxious position, not secure in the love of God. Like it used to protect me, but now I'm in a new season, and I don't know if it's going to come through. Have you ever met somebody who's insecure in a relationship because they don't know if the love is unconditional? Like when people start dating, like one of the parties doesn't know if the love is for real, so they're always dressed to the nines. Every conversation, it's like they're having an interview because they don't know. I mean, they said they love me, but I could say something wrong at any time and that love could change. There's a lot of Christians still dealing with bad theology as if it's the stuff we're doing that's bringing the love of God towards our lives, rather than focus on what he's done, which gives us the right to realize today, no matter what I've done, no matter where I've headed, no matter how big the future looks, I know right now I can have peace because I already have Jesus. I'm not waiting for a breakthrough. I had a breakthrough. I'm not waiting for a promotion. He is my promotion. I'm not waiting for somebody else to validate me. The cross validated me. So while I wait for my next season to unfold, I'm waiting with a God who has a protection over me that never changes. Come on, somebody. This is for an anxious Christian in here today. Otherwise, you get caught up in that life of Christian striving. We've all felt that. I got to worship harder this week. You can see people in church like worshiping like we're on a tryout. Even the way some people pray, they're thinking, man, maybe I got a big thing coming up this week, so I got to pray different. I got to pray harder. Maybe I got to pray in the Greek or the Hebrew, or maybe I got to pray in the King James. And the prayer now, it goes from praying from a place of acceptance into praying for acceptance, and it's a strive, as if our God is like a judge on the X Factor where he sits there and waits for you to do the right things. That's a good prayer. I accept that one. No good. No good. Come back next week when you know what to say. Our God, arms wide open at all times. So you have nothing to fear. You have nothing to worry about. If you're like, oh man, God, I hope there's a breakthrough coming, but I've had a really bad week. Got some good and bad news. The bad news is we're just bad people. The good news is Jesus died for bad people like us, so we wouldn't have to keep working our way up to God. God worked his way down to us in the love that is Jesus. Now we get to sit in his grace every day of our lives. Come on, somebody, shout me down. Give me a little Pentecostal feedback. I can tell when a Christian is secure in God's love because they give recklessly. Money, forgiveness, love, opportunity. There's a job for me. Well, I know somebody that's good for it. You need something? I don't have a lot, but I'll give you what's in my hand. Why? Because they're secure in the protection of their God. My little baby girl, Charlie, she got $75. What's the preaching time in this one? 47 minutes? Okay. Judah's out of town. He's not coming back till tonight? Oh. Kidding. She got $75 for Christmas. And I don't care how rich you are. $75 from your grandparents is still a lot of money. It's awesome. And I have taught all my children to tithe already, because it's never too early to make sure your kids don't live in financial fear and your kids aren't stingy. Probably a different message. Again, it just died right here. For two, if you want to pick up some of these dead jokes, just get them out. And I said, Charlie, what are you going to do with your money after you tithe? She said, Dad, I've decided to do something different this year. I'm going to give all $75 in the offering at church on Sunday. And I'm like, girl, why would you do that? You don't have to do that. Like, I'm shocked. Like, heaven forbid I would have a daughter going the extra mile. I'm like, you know, you can just do what most Christians do. Just do what's expected. Just get by and then live your life, you know. And she's like, no, Dad, I really want to do it. And I said, here's what I want you to do. I want you to pray about it, because that's your Christmas money. You don't have to give it all to church. Just give God what's his and just, you know, do your thing. But if you really want to do it, pray about it. And let me know on Sunday. I had forgotten, and I am up there about to preach, and I feel a little tug from Charlie, and she hands me her envelope. And I look on the envelope, and it's her name with her money, because keep in mind, she's given offerings before with my name, my credit card there. It's been a generous month. Praise be to God. And I look at it, it's her writing, it's her, and I said, girl, explain this to me. How at 8 years old do you have this generous revelation that you're going to give it all? And she said, Dad, it's real simple for me. I just figure I could give everything I have right now, because if I need more money, I'll just ask you. To which I was like, oh my God, like, what do you need? What do you need? It just blew me away that my 8-year-old daughter has so much confidence in her below average, super learning on the fly dad who has failed her multiple times already, yet even in her little 8-year-old psyche, she has so much faith that I'm going to show up, that she has no reservation about giving what she has in her hand. Yet we can be adult Christians saved by the blood of the Lamb for what we've done, for what we're going to do, but yet we could still stand sometimes on the edge of new opportunity and wonder, is God going to show up even though he's never failed? Is my God going to be out there when I go, even though he's always been out there? What if we really believe that the hand of God was always on us, that his favor will never leave us, that his hand of provision has gone way before us? How would we live if we knew that this agape love said it always protects? If you're in here and people have let you down, and this one's a hard one for you to fathom, let the grace of God put your soul at ease. Jesus Christ has never failed anybody, and he is not going to start with you. Number one, it frees us from our past. Number two, it gives us peace in our present. And number three, as we close, it gives us hope for our future, because our future looks like Jesus. The agape love of God. Come on up here, team. This is fake close number one. The agape love of God, it gives us hope for our future, because our future looks like Jesus. Where do you get this hope from? Is this Hillsong, charismatic, happy, clappy, Tony Robbins, motivational speaking, preaching stuff? No. It's 1 Corinthians, that little part at the end where it says love never fails. As a Christian who has accepted the agape love of God, what you're saying is, my hopes and my dreams and my passion and my fear and my stuff, everything is anchored in Jesus. So that means I know where I'm headed. Have you ever met someone who's so worried about the future and they're wondering what their destiny looks like? I don't wonder, because I know that I'm in Jesus. So no matter where I go, it looks like Jesus, which means there's going to be faith there. There's going to be power there. There's going to be love there. There's going to be freedom there. Doesn't matter what this world does to me. It cannot change what God is doing through me. So my hopes and my dreams, they are anchored in Jesus. I live in a city in New York where people are pinning every hope and dream on things that this world can take. My hopes and my dreams are all locked up in this investment in this business, which is okay on one level, but on another level, people can take that money and they can take that investment. Where does it leave you? Empty. There's other people that have their hopes and dreams pinned on another human being and some mythical relationship that's going to complete them. Here's a problem. If your hopes and dreams are pinned to another human, that human will fail you. So where does that leave you? Only a Christian can be in a church like this today and say, hey, you know what? I know what tomorrow holds because I know who holds it. I know what my future holds because I walk with Jesus and his love never fails. Only crazy Christians can actually say we believe in the one that has never been defeated. Not even death itself could stop my God. So it doesn't matter what happens to me on Monday. It doesn't matter what that doctor says. I serve the God that conquered the grave. So that means no matter what comes at me, cannot stop what God is doing through me. Come on, somebody. You hear me? Pretty fun to think like this. You know, when Judah and I wrote this song that we're about to sing about Praise the Name, we didn't write it. Golly, I'm dying here. There's a line in there that says, trampled death, where is your sting? For some people, they'll sing that in their minds. They really don't know what it means. That's like 90% of church songs. I've been singing songs for a while. I'm like, I don't know what it means, but it sounds good. I'm sure it's great. This is one of those lines, like, trampled death, where is your sting? Why does that matter today in Seattle, Washington, in this day and age? We believe that death itself has lost all its power because Jesus rose from the grave and we walk with him. This means no job, no hardship, no struggle can actually get the best of us because Jesus already took the worst of it at the grave. And I'm not a, biologist at all. But I learned something about bees that might encourage you today. If you need a word picture, I heard that bees have one shot at stinging you. Because if a bee stings you, as it pulls out of the stinger stays and it disembowels itself and it dies. So bees only get one shot at stinging people. Can you see where this is going? So what happened on the cross, for those of you that might need a refresher, is that the devil had been stinging you and had been stinging me and been stinging our culture for so long, where God finally said, this cannot happen anymore. Let me send somebody who can block the flow, who can stop the cycle. And when Jesus hung on that cross and took the best shot hell had to offer, when it landed on Jesus, it stopped with Jesus. So anybody who chooses to get behind the cross, what you're really saying is, Jesus took my sin and he took my shame. Now the devil has no power over me. He's like a fly. He can fly around you and he can kind of go around your life, but he's lost his power, because when Jesus took it on the cross for the end of time, Christians know not even death on this earth can stop me from the love of my God. It changes everything. Y'all, come on if you hear me right now. We're going to stop right there at 39 minutes. Here's why. If you've lost hope today, if you've suffered tragedy today, maybe the devil's tried to rob you. Look at the future. It looks bleak. Let this be a clear reminder that Jesus said, in this world you're going to have stuff go wrong, but the agape love of our God has overcome it all. Can you stand to your feet without anybody leaving? I'm going to pray for you. And I just want to remind you, Monday should be a good day for you. If you're going into chemotherapy, go in there with some faith, because when Jesus died and rose again, even the worst diagnosis on this planet has to stop at the cross. Not even death itself can hold you down. If you're waiting for a better job and you're wondering, is anyone knowing about your hard work, you can rest easy. Your hope is with the provider. It's not in a job, guys. It's not in a boss. It's not in a portfolio. It's in the cross. You're going to be all right. If you went to bed tonight dreaming about the cross and how it equals love, would it change the way you walk into work tomorrow? Because I heard a story that just blew my mind recently about a woman goes to a friend of mine's church and lives in Wyoming. Lost her husband to a brain tumor. Tragic, heartbreaking, and tells me that the Valentine's Day after her husband had passed away, the year after, she received a bouquet of flowers. And the card on the flowers says, from your loving husband, miss you, love you, see you soon. Obviously blew her mind. She went and called her friends and said, y'all do this? This isn't funny. I got flowers